Why couldn't you have just posted Blackout Tuesday, just put in your black box and been quiet? Why'd you have to make this video? So here I am making this video right now to share with you some of the things that I think are in a way hidden, some of the things that I don't think are in the limelight for people to see. I think that right now, first off, I think there is racism on the planet. I think that there is and are African American or black people that have been mistreated for a very long period of time. And I do think that this is a time of us going through and really doing the shadow work to let go of judgments, to let go of inequality that has existed for a long period of time, and to decide once and for all that we do not prefer this anymore, that we do hear you. And a lot of the people that have been, whose voices have been suppressed or, and that it's time that now we recognize this. I do believe that. I believe that in what's happening on the planet as well is that there's a high level of light coming in on the planet that is then having a lot of this stuff be brought up so that we can then deal with it and then let it go, kind of like a clearing in a way. And that what's happening is right now we are letting go of what we no longer prefer to experience, and we're deciding that this is who we really prefer to be. We prefer equality. We prefer to feel connected, to feel love, justice. And we realize as well that this can't happen any longer. And I agree with that. However, the other aspect of this is something that I have been getting, and I'm just kind of reporting here to you guys. What I share with you in this video may seem very out there, but nonetheless, if you look to the patterns, it's there. I have been getting hundreds of DMs from people that have been telling me that they are at the protests. They are involved, and what they are noticing is some very red flag things that maybe isn't being talked about in the media. There have been people that have told me, for example, I'll go ahead and post some of them right here. There have been people that have told me that there are cop cars being planted with already graffiti on it, saying we did not do this. People saying we did not do this. This was planted there already. And then what happens is there are literally piles of bricks at these locations, at different places, people outside of their apartment buildings showing these bricks being brought via forklift to different parts of the city, so that obviously people have something to throw. In a way, an instigation. There have been people that have been shown to be undercover that are doing different things, whether it's looting, and people that aren't even, that are just like many times white people that are just wearing a lot of clothes and then doing things. And a lot of it is to instigate and to make this worse than it actually is. And these are some of the things that I've been noticing, some of the things I've been getting in DMs. Now, this is the way and this is what I think is happening. This has been happening. This will sound conspiracy theory-ish, but hear me out on this. There are an elite number of people that want to remain in power and have a certain agenda. And what they know is that if we as the people are in anger, in chaos, and in fear, then we are much more easily able to be controlled. Plus, we're much more willing to give up our rights. And these people are a mixture of elite billionaires and people that, that's a whole nother conversation of itself. I have some videos on YouTube about that, but just in general, I want to keep this more about what I think is happening right now. I think that there's an agenda there that is starting to show itself, where there are people that are exaggerating and making this even more worse by putting out bricks and encouraging and instigating these things to keep us in fear, to keep us separated, so that also we're more willing to give up our rights. Now, for example, this is the way it seems to be working. We have problem, reaction, solution. The way is that this is how it works. There's some type of problem. Now, the problem is, of course, racism. And it is that to do with George Floyd. And what happens is we then have these protests that then turn into riots and are instigated. Maybe that's what it seems to be happening. And then the reaction is anger and riots, which then gives the solution of martial law. Okay, now we can have a curfew. I'm back in Vegas right now. I just got back from Sedona. And as I'm coming in, there's these signs that say curfew every day, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m., curfew. Okay, now we're much more willing to say, okay, this is for our safety. And the same thing I believe happened with I believe it was a real thing, obviously. It was something that was really killing people. But I think that it was emphasized, and the media was in a way narrating it to make it way more fear than it had to be. And then that would have resulted in the solution of, oh, now people are open to vaccinations. people are open. And if you go to Bill Gates' Instagram, by the way, go look at his newest photo and read hundreds of thousands of comments from people. There's a whole thing of itself, but a lot of this stuff is under the surface and we're not able to be aware of it. Now, these are some of the things that I think is happening. I think that moving forward, Black people, African Americans, people of color, I think your voice should be heard every single day moving forward, not just this one day. I also believe that a lot of times what happens is there's, in a way, this is going to sound a little conspiracy theorist as well, and I get that. But if you look into certain things and you do research, you can start to see patterns of this. There's certain ways there's something called the collective consciousness. We have within our collective society, we have what is called the collective consciousness, where we're all connected. And what happens is there's certain things that get programmed into us that then allow us to then be more open to certain things. So right now we have millions of people sharing the black box and the Blackout Tuesday on their profile. And blackout, think of that word, that phrase, blackout. In a way, what it could be priming people for is maybe some type of blackout. Some type of electrical blackout. Now, I'm not claiming this. I'm just saying that I know many times there's certain agendas where this elite people, they will do these little subliminal things like that and start these so that then what happens is it keeps people within a certain state of it's almost like we're vibrationally allowing it in. So what I think is happening right now is this is another way for us to feel separated and from us realizing our true power. And here's the thing I believe. I believe every single one of us are connected, and that together, instead of us focusing on separation, to start focus on unity. There are a lot of things happening with these riots and these protests as well, where there are literally, I saw one where there were African American that were literally protecting one of the cops because he got separated from his group. It's a very good feeling post. There were many others of cops and African American people hugging each other. And those aren't necessarily the ones that are shared on mainstream media. We're led to believe that this is way chaos. This is crazy. And yes, this stuff is coming to the surface for us to become aware of it and to let it go. But at the same time, the thing I want to encourage you to look at is to question some of these reactions that we initially have going into it. And to realize that maybe there's a little bit more going on. Maybe when we're divided and we're in this kind of state, we're then in a way externalizing our power. Whereas if we come together and we decide what we want, we way outnumber what we could call these elite people. These agendas, when you talk about George Soros, Antifa. And if you do the research and you look into this, you'll see that there's some negative agendas there. And it requires a little bit of looking into and discernment, of course. But the thing that I want to share with you, that when it comes to this Blackout Tuesday, I believe that here moving forward, I would love to see more and more people speaking their truth. And I think that from this point going forward, Black people, African American people of colors, your voice needs to be heard. And I think that that's something moving forward, not just for one day. So when I this morning saw that and I quickly posted the Blackout Tuesday, I realized that I was reacting to a lot of what is happening. And for some reason, I felt like there's something else going on here. And what I want to share with you is that I think from here moving forward, we need to start focusing on unity, connection, love, us all coming together rather than the separation. We're becoming aware of a lot of the stuff that was subconscious, some of it conscious, but we're becoming aware of it now so that we can then let it go. But I think that what is more important right now is that we focus on that unity, that connection, and that love. So I understand that making this post right now probably wasn't the most acceptable way of going about this. It would have been much easier for me just to post that and to be quiet the rest of the day. But I think we need to question things, and we need to realize that we need to come together, and we need to unify our own energy together. So that's what I think.